Hello, Justin Minot here at Provident1898. I'm here with Lebone Moses, phenomenal human, phenomenal entrepreneur doing beautiful work. So Lebone is an entrepreneur, business strategist, investor, business coach, and connector with 20 years of experience assessing and advising companies of all sizes across industries. One of the smartest humans I know. Lebone, good to have you here.
Good to be here. Thank you.
All right, so mask off now. We're gonna get into the good stuff.
Okay.
All right. Tell me about your journey of entrepreneurship, getting to this point where you're running your own company, doing this beautiful work. How did you get here?
Sure. I've been in the corporate world for 17 years when I finally branched off and decided to run Chisara Ventures full time. I'm first generation. I come from a very entrepreneurial first generation American family, Caribbean roots. And so I always wanted to own my own business.
Sure.
I spent 10 years in public accounting, servicing very large clients, Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 500 companies. And I realized while I was in that environment that there was a large network of companies that needed the same services I provide, but they couldn't afford them. And the larger companies didn't even have a target for them as a client,
Sure.
right? Because there's an understanding that they can't afford those services. And so what I did while I was in public accounting and servicing those clients, I started a business servicing smaller clients, much
While
smaller
you're
clients.
running your full-time?
Yes, while I
Okay.
was doing my full-time work in public accounting.
So really practically, right, because there are going to be a lot of people watching this that resonate with that story, right? They don't have big financial backing to just go out and run it, and quit what they're doing or whatever it is. What does that look like practically? You're at your 9 to 5, working 40 plus hours a week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Starting this venture on the side. Walk us through some of the practicals of that.
Yeah, so actually, I don't know that I was working a 9 to 5. I think I was averaging probably 60 hours a week in my public accounting work.
Wow.
But I did a lot of community work and a lot of networking on the side. I had a very large business network that I had built over the years. And my network is really what allowed me to start my business. Through my network, I understood the services that people needed. And so I started to allocate time on my weekends to service them. And that's what created the environment for me to start my business. It's very important. That was sort of my proof of concept.
Yes.
And when I realized that it was working and that I could carve out space on my weekends to do that, it made sense. I went to business school. I went to Bentley University undergrad, Babson graduate school. One of the biggest things that business school teaches you is that you always have to have avenues that parallel each other. You never just want to rely on one stream of anything. So it was never in my mind to just jump out and focus solely on my business without any plans for how to support the business should something go wrong. So I gradually grew my business piece by piece because I had a solid corporate income coming in.
Yes.
I had benefits. And I did it when I could. I did it on weekends. I did it when I had time off. And that allowed me to continue to build the business. It allowed me to service my network. And really, my business started to grow by referrals.
Wow.
Which allowed me to pace the growth of the business also. When I decided to go full-time in my business.
When did you know it was time? That's what I want. Like, when did you know, how did you know it was time to make the full jump?
At the time that I decided to jump full-time into my business, which was 2018, I was in a corporate role, not in public accounting at the time, but I was in a corporate role that felt very suffocating. I actually had more market opportunities related to my business than I had growth opportunities on the corporate side.
Wow.
And I often tell people you have to be at a position where you feel that you can replace what it is that you're doing in your your formal work
Sure.
before you stepped into full-time business. And so at that point, I felt that it made more sense for me to focus full-time on my business because it was literally time-wise, experience-wise, growth-wise, impact-wise. I'm very much into impact.
Yes.
That I'm having. Impact-wise was completely replacing what was not happening
Right.
in my corporate work world.
Right.
And so for me, that was the critical marker, and I decided to focus full-time since 2018. So 2018, 2019, 2020, Chisara Ventures has been my full-time focus.
Incredible. And I love that you mentioned impact. I know that that is a staple of your work, a core thread of your work. This community here at Provident1898 is full of these impact-driven people. What's it like being a part of this community here?
I love it.
Good.
So I've been a part of other business communities in North Carolina, and I'm originally from up north. So New York, Boston, Connecticut, New Jersey, that's where my network has been most of my career. I came to North Carolina in 2014, and I struggled a little because I couldn't find the network that I had up north.
Yeah.
And Provident1898 was the first time that I found a business community that was diverse in nature and in activities.
Right.
The heart of what Provident1898 does is very appealing to me. It aligns with my own heart, which is it's all around impact.
Yeah.
So it's great to be able to come into a space where I know I'm welcome, and I interact with other business owners, other entrepreneurs, some people who aren't entrepreneurs, but they work for organizations that have offices in here, be able to share my expertise, be able to leverage their expertise, share ideas, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
It's really a great feeling because I always feel like I'm at home. I have a place to be at home.
Yeah, that makes me so happy. I love that. So tell me more about the core pieces of your business. Who do you work best with? What type of work do you love doing the most? What does that look like? Who are your ideal clients?
Sure. So I would break my business into 3 core areas. And I work across industry because my background in business, in the corporate world, my clients were spread across all industries. But the ideal client, I have 3 areas. The first is strategic regulatory work, where I'm trained in assessing regulations, understanding how they apply to companies, and helping companies build out infrastructure to align with regulatory requirements.
Okay.
Those clients are facing some sort of pressure, either from the federal government or the industry or their clients. And so that type of client is usually a time-sensitive type of work, and highly critical to the existence of their business.
Right, right.
Then I do organizational strategy and organizational modeling work. And that work is focused on helping companies to build out their strategic models and to develop the people component of those models in a way that supports the overall goals of the organization. That's probably the most exciting part of my work because within that, I do organizational strategy. I help companies to build out their strategic plans. I help them to identify, develop, and coach leaders. I help them to put the right people in the right seats so that their company chessboard, if you will, supports where they're headed.
Yeah.
And I often, clients comment that what they learn through that work, they've been able to use in other areas of their life, their home environment, their community work, things like that. So
business is life and life is business.
Right. So that's like the most impactful. And those types of clients are typically either going through a transition, planning a transition, or just came out of one. That's when I find that that organizational strategy work is really a sweet spot for them, because it helps provide them with a level of guidance where they can build their own roadmap, but they understand the framework for doing so and putting the right people in the right places in the organization.
Right.
And then I have a third bucket that I only separate out because I do a lot of partnerships in relation to it. And this is for very specific startup needs. So I have a number of clients who are new entrepreneurs or existing entrepreneurs, but they want a business that is already proven. I help them identify franchises that suit their taste, their appeal, things like that. And then I have other clients who they have a business idea, or they've started a business, but they need an app. They need services that would allow them to build it out from a technological standpoint.
Sure.
Again, I have partnerships that allow them to create mobile apps for their business, and I can help them get funding to do so. And so very specific services that actually really only relate to startup or a new franchise type entrepreneurs. So I segregate that because I know those are specialized.
Yeah, I love it. I love what you're up to. How do people get in touch with you?
My website is www.chisaraventures.com. That's Chisaraventures.com. I'm also on Facebook, Chisara Ventures, and Twitter, Chisara Ventures, and LinkedIn, same thing, Chisara Ventures.
Perfect, perfect. Thanks so much, Lebone. Make sure you get in touch with Lebone Moses, incredible human doing beautiful things. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.